Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we have a mishmash of gardening jobs to catch up on. We're going to tackle the unruly broad beans, rescue the ailing blueberry and plant a new one in its place, finally get the last of the wool matting down around the strawberries to protect them for the summer coming, do round 2 with the catnip and see who wins with that. Plus we get the New Zealand cranberry out of its pot, and that was a mission, and get it into the garden bed. On top of all that, we keep up with the August seed sowing. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good afternoon. Well, it is Saturday the 16th of August. It is a lovely day out here and it's now afternoon. I've had a busy morning, so sorry if I look a bit scruffy or what have you, but as I said in the very beginning, you get me warts and all. I've been out most of the morning doing a community working bee, so I've already sort of dragged myself through the mud and things. But it's too nice to be inside this afternoon, so I've come out and I've got a few chores and things that I need to do today and the next day. So you're coming along to give me a hand. So first chore is my poor broad beans. They definitely need tidying up. The beans themselves look wonderful and I'm really pleased, and they're flowering, so that's great. But I had them, well, I thought I had them tied in, but we had a southerly last weekend, I think it was early last week, and they're sort of all pushing this way now, so I'm going to have to give them a bit more support, otherwise they're all going to fall over. They do have individual stakes, but they're just the tinier pecan green stakes and it's just not enough. I was going to just tie them up with some more twine, but now that I'm looking at them, I think that they might need a bit more than that, and I might go and find it in a sec. I usually grow my corn in here because it's just a good bed for them. And I do find though that if we get a stiff southerly through, that they will end up leaning this way, and I've got a big yellow sort of very wide bore twine type thing that I use, big thick stuff, and I can heft that around and then hinch them in, and I think that's what I'm going to have to do here, just to get them back up. But yeah, they're looking really good. I'm pleased. There's just the one broad bean plant that hasn't done well, and that had a slow get starting because it was shaded by a flower box that I had there, and so it never really took off. But these are looking great. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago about ants. Now we've got ants everywhere through the garden and we battle them constantly inside as well. But what ants can do for things like broad beans is that they put a sticky substance, especially up around the tender shoots, and what they're doing is that they're putting out bait for black fly, so they actually farm the black fly. So and there's ants, I can just see a couple of them tearing around there now, and there's a whole lot up there too, and so that's fine while they're on them now. I've got no issues with the ants being there. It's just when they start to put the sticky substance out and then attract the black fly, and of course the black fly then tap into the sap of the broad bean, and the broad bean then starts to suffer from that. So we will just have to keep an eye out for that. Nature does have its own solution for the old black fly, and that's the ladybird. Not the ladybird that you see with the little beautiful wings and things like that, but actually it's larva, and the larva will eat the black fly, but it's one of those things that the larva won't turn up till the black fly are there for it to actually feed off. So yeah, it's winter. So your poor old plant gets sort of a bit hiffed for a while. So I'll just monitor them and we'll keep going. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I'll bring the camera in a few minutes and show you some of the beautiful flowers. But just hold the phone and I'll go and find the big rope and we'll see if we can tie these back, because we've got another southerly coming in a few days and I don't want them all leaning over like that. Right, couldn't find the yellow one, but I found the green version of it, so that's just as good. So what I'm going to do is just try and pull these back towards the fence and see if I can get them to be supported for the next windstorm. I've done it. It's not perfect by any push of the imagination, but hopefully it will at least stop them being flattened by the wind. Next year, if I do them here, I'm definitely going to have to put taller posts and more string around them, and see if I can prevent them getting knocked over. They'll be more exposed in the other beds, but here it's just a bit more difficult to tie them up because I can't get around to the other side to do it easily. So I'll think about it. But yeah, I'm happy with that, and I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to see the first pods turn out from the flowers. Awesome. Now the broad beans are done, I am going to finally dig out the blueberry that's not been very happy. I'm going to pot it up. I've got a nice pot for it, and I'm going to plant the new one that I've got and see how I go. The old one, I'll keep it up somewhere, maybe on the deck or something, and just look after it and see how it goes, see if I can nurse it back to health and get rid of the black funny rusty spots that are all over the leaves. It's definitely looking better at the moment, but I went out and bought a new one anyway, so we'll see how we go with that. And as I said in the previous vlog, I'll either find a spot for it around the garden if it does do well. If not, I've got a couple of places that would definitely take it, so it's not a problem. I am also being supervised in the background by two black furry supervisors. They're keeping an eye on me. I'm in a bit of a confined space here, so you're not going to see me head, unfortunately. I've got the camera back as far as I can get it at the moment. So I'm going to dig this out. I've got my pot, and we'll see what happens. I would remove this at the moment because it is a nuisance, but it is my windbreak for them, and the other blueberry is just starting to put out its flowers, so I don't want to move it, and trying to get these stakes back in isn't easy, so I will do my best around it. So sorry if you get a lot of back and not much front. Well, that was a wee bit more of a mission than I thought, but in some ways it was easier too. So it's out. My spatial concepts are dreadful, so I had it out, had it in the pot, realised it was too big, had to take it out of the pot to trim its edges down and take some more dirt out of the pot, so it was a bit of a muck around. But it's now in the pot, it's looking happier, so I will pop that somewhere up on the deck where I can keep a closer look at it, and but also out of the wind. and see if I can nurse that along a bit. We'll probably need to move once the summer comes along because it will just be too hot for it up in that wee alcove. But yeah, it's got some little buds on it. And after taking off all the really diseased and dead wood the other day, a couple of weeks ago, it seems to have responded quite well. I'm still concerned about this on the leaves, the discoloured leaves. I mean, it's had everything it needs as far as food and everything like that's concerned. It's in good soil. So yeah, I'm hoping that in time this will go and that it will get better, basically. Anyway, I'm going to plant the new one now. Here's the new one. It's actually the same variety as the one I've just dug out, which was a tasty blue. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that by planting a new one here, I'm not going to expose it to the same issues that its predecessor had. But this one's looking very good. It's not going to do much for the first few years, but yeah, get it in, get it established, shelter it from the wind. I ended up pulling this off a wee bit from the stake, so I'll have to go and get the staple gun and pop that back together again in a minute, and get that in and then move on to the next thing, because there's lots of little jobs that need to be done in the garden at the moment. Nothing stunningly complex or major, but lots of little things that just need doing. One of the catch-up things that I needed to do this week is finish putting the wool matting down for the strawberries. It turned out to be a bit more difficult to actually source the wool matting that I wanted at a reasonable price and a reasonable courier price. So, long story short, I ended up suddenly, as you do on Google and things like that, it shoves something in front of you, and actually this time it was worth it. And it was an end of line deal for $99 for 30 metres of wool matting that was half a metre wide, and it was free courier, so I didn't complain. And today I ran into someone else who actually did exactly the same as I've done. So I have my wool matting and I will show it to you. It is big. Oh, as you can see, yeah, so I don't know what it's like yet. I haven't even pulled it out of its bag. It's been sitting in the lounge for the last few weeks with my get round to it on it, and yeah, so today is my get round to it. I'm going to try and finish doing this, and then there is one other thing I want to do to the strawberry bed, and it's actually set up an irrigation system on it. Now, this has been on my get round to it list for a few years. Hubby spent ages, absolutely ages, putting a sprinkler system, plug the hose in and it does its own thing directly into the bed thing, a fair few years ago now. But it's never really done the job that I wanted it to do, because as the veggies grow up and what have you, all it did was jet up. I could have put in long leaders and drips and things like that, but because I changed my beds around so much, it just didn't work. Plus, I actually really like hand watering for certain things, but I'm getting busier doing a few other things at the moment, and I just need to rationalise my time and spend it doing things that I have to hand water, like the veggie beds where the things grow up and I don't want water directly on the veggies, etc. The strawberry bed, because it stays the same all the time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recycle some of this piping. I might need to use a few goof plugs and what have you, and get some of the longer, thinner tube, and then just put in soaker ones, because they don't need to spray everywhere, and I don't want the strawberries sprayed because wet strawberries just rot. So I'm aiming to put in maybe one or two long lines the length of the bed, and then just put the little bits off it, and then put the soaker bits on. So that's a project that's going to go on for the next few weeks. I also would like to do exactly the same in the front garden bed, the big long one, and maybe the side ones. Not sure about the fruit tree ones, the smaller square ones with fruit trees in yet. I'm still thinking about that. I have also got a flower bed here in the back garden that I will probably do a similar thing with, because while it has annuals in and out, it does have quite a lot of perennials, so I can plant around the things with that. So yeah, and there is one more too, the rose bed. That's one I'd like to do too, so run it along the front. The rose bed doesn't get a lot of watering over summer because of the lavenders and what have you, so unless it's a really hot summer, I usually only do it around about twice a week depending on the rainfall. This time of year it gets watered by me. I just hope Mother Nature does it, so it gets it about once a week roughly, and at the moment Mother Nature's doing that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to try bit by bit get some of this wool off, and then put it in. And Bo was hanging around a few minutes ago looking at it, thinking, yeah, Mum's going to put more wool down for me to rip up. We'll have to see how we go with that, but one thing at a time. Let's get the wool down, and then we might, if we've got time today, look at doing the tubing. If not, that's tomorrow's job. So I've cut a piece off. I'm not going to be able to roll it all out and do the whole bed at once sort of thing. It's just not manageable. Looks fairly good. It's good thickness. You don't really want it much thicker than what it is. Yeah, so the results will tell whether it is good or not. See how it goes over the summer, if it breaks down all right. Next winter I'll be digging all these out, and what I tend to do with the old wool is just pop it in the compost, and it does take a wee bit to break down, but I have found it does do it, and it's quite good for that. So yeah, it's definitely well worth it, because I just don't have to weed my strawberries, and they stay reasonably mulched and damp underneath there over the summer, because they are in a really hot spot. So I'm going to just work away at this. I'll put the camera on for a wee bit, and we'll do a bit of speedy and go from there. And then we'll have a look at the result, and I may or may not have to fight off Bo. We'll see. Done. Well, the wool bit's done. Had a couple of visits. Oh, got one here now. Yeah, it's I think 3:30ish. I've run out of steam, so I am going to leave it for the day and come back to and do it tomorrow. I'm really pleased with that. That cut quite well. Yeah, feels good as far as texture's concerned. I really know if it's doing its job later in the season, if the soil stays nice and moist and this doesn't become water repellent. That's a really important thing. It's got to keep sucking up the moisture and wicking it down. If it gets hard and not doing its job, then it's just not worth the time or money. But yeah, it's looking pretty good in there. I've got strawberry flowers. I'll leave them on now, albeit only August. This bed gets lots and lots of sun, so we often get early strawberries. And they are all looking really nice after their tidy up and pruning and clean up and feeding. So they'll need feeding again probably around about November-ish. As they start fruiting, and then I'll feed them every month as they're fruiting. My strawberries tend to fruit continuously over summer, as long as I can remember to water them and look after them. So anyway, I am going to go and have a cup of tea and I'll sit down for a while. Catch you again tomorrow. So it's now Sunday the 17th in the afternoon, 17th of August. Lovely out here, gentle breeze. And I am going to do round 2 of the catnip. I never got out here in the last couple of days as I had hoped to finish getting it out and prepping the bed for getting in the Chilean guava, aka New Zealand cranberry, but I'm going to have a run at it now. So fingers crossed I get it out this time, and then I can just top up the bed and then go and have a go at trying to crack the pot for the guava. Woohoo, that came out a lot easier than I thought. Yeah, just used the garden knife and I got the last of the roots out, or cut them, and it came away. Probably if I'd given it another 10 minutes the other day I would have got it out, but I was pooped at this stage and I still had things to do, so new energy today and it came out really quickly, so that's great. I might take that over and see if I can break it up a bit more and get a couple more cuttings out of it. I've already potted up about 8, so there's only so much catnip you need, but yeah, we'll see. So now my next step is to decide whether to put in the guava before I top up or top up and then put the guava in. I think it might be put the guava in, plant it high and then top up. I think that'll be the thing. So I shall go and have a look at what I'm going to do regarding trying to split that pot, and then I'll bring you along and we'll have a look together. This is the hole. Sorry, I can't do much more because I've got family helping and I've got other people around me. So yeah, that's the hole. It's fairly deep and we have managed to crack the outside, so as thought, lots and lots of roots. So I'm going to put the camera down in a minute and we're going to try and get this in, but I'm not going to be filming. I'll show you the result at the end. Right, mission accomplished. It took the whole family almost to get it done. I'll post some photos up here of the hole that we ended up digging for it. And there'll be a wee clip I think I've just done beforehand, but it might be a bit whispered because I had lots of people around me at the time. Family's just bought me out a reviving cup of tea. It's taken us about an hour to do this, between digging the hole, which ended up being quite a substantial hole, as you'll see, and well, we'll have seen hopefully in the previous videos, but or I might just insert it as pictures, I'll see. And then trying to get it out of that damn pot. So we ended up actually taking an axe to the pot, and it turned out that it was a 2-layer pot. So there was a brown sort of terracotta-y plastic thing that thankfully was quite sun damaged and was quite brittle, but inside it was sort of like a black netting one, sort of thing that you would get in a potato bucket type thing. So yeah, so that unfortunately was a bit more difficult to get apart because the roots had grown in between the 2 pot layers, so the black pot and the terracotta type pot, and they were pretty big roots and sort of had to cut and peel, and we eventually got it out and just did a very slight root prune on either side because the bed was a wee bit narrower than the actual plant root ball. So yeah, hopefully it won't sulk too much, but yeah, I've just got to finish potting up around it. I've got a couple of bags of compost that I'm just going to pop in along the top here. As I said, I was going to top this bed up, and rather than just digging up and getting rid of the sage that's looking pretty knackered, I can see there's a bit of life in it still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into that pot there, and give it a bit of a trim and a prune, and might pop it in the greenhouse for a couple of weeks, just give it a bit of TLC and let it come away, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. We'll go from there. But yeah, really pleased that it's in this weekend. That was a major, for me anyway. So yeah. Right, cup of tea and a break. Okay, so it's around about 3:30 and I have been pottering away, and I'm just trying to show you I've topped up the bed completely. The guava has gone in. I have dug out the sage, and then I started heading around because I still had some more stuff left, heading around there and tidying up. I've got unfortunately a nest of thistles that I keep digging out, but because they're so deep rooted, the damn things just keep coming back, even though I dig the roots out each time. But anyway, so I'm really pleased with that. With the wet weather coming in the next day or so, I'm planning to tidy up the obelisks things for the sweet peas, and I will just be popping them either side of the guava and growing sweet peas, and then in around it I'll just put some annuals this year till I see how far the guava grows. But yeah, pleased with that for the end of the day. Gorgeous day. See how Monday comes. It's that time of week that we catch up with the Barefoot Seedling report. So, how are things going? Well, because of the bad weather, I've caught up with quite a bit of potting on and things like that over the week. And I have planted out some new seeds, though I've still got quite a lot to do for August yet. But we'll bring you in a bit closer and we'll have a look at what's what and what I have done and what I haven't done. So starting over with the 20-degree stable propagators, the ones with the water underneath, we'll have a quick look at those. So with the cornflower here, I haven't got a great germination. It's rather patchy, but you know, it is what it is. The Nigella are only just starting to come up, and yeah, still not great germination there. This is my second tray of spinach, because my first one, which I didn't put on the propagator, didn't really come up at all. I think I got two there. It could have been the fact that the seed that I used previously wasn't quite great, so I have put it on the propagator this time and also put new seed. So I've actually got two lots of cornflower. That one is a dwarf blue, and this is the one that I did last year, which is the Tom Thumb mix, and that's I've got a better strike from, which is great. This tray here is just gone in the last day or two, and that's basil, just Genevieve green basil, and it's my second tray. I'll show you what I've done with the first tray load, and that was really good strike rate for that, and I was really pleased. This far wee one is the spring onions, the red ones that I got absolutely nothing from, which I think was due to old seed as well. So I've popped them on the propagator this time as well. Here, this tray's been here for a bit. This is the chilies that I got from a friend, and I haven't really had much more come from them. And this is the hollyhocks that I put in, and they're just coming up now. And I'm just a bit concerned because I noticed a couple of them, I think I might be getting a bit of fungus gnat activity. So probably this weekend I bought some stuff that you're meant to basically drench the soil with. I think it's every week or 2 weeks. I'm not keen on additives and things like that, but the fungus gnats last year were dreadful, and I'm just starting to pick up a few of them on the yellow trap that I've got down the end of the table, which I'll show you. And in the far corner is a mix of peppers and chilies, and that was my catch-up tray, and they're doing really well. Another week or so and they will probably then get potted on. So this is the stuff that's on my hot mat, so my thermostat mat. As you can see at the back, the cucumbers are doing really well since I put them back on there, and they will have to come off at some point because I'll need the mats, especially when I start my tomatoes in the next week or two. So that's a bit of a shame. And just in front of those is some Rebecca and Echinacea, which has done well. I've had absolutely no strike on my petunias. I'm going to have to seriously do some study up about how to get these things to germinate. I plopped in a couple of trays of asparagus seedlings. So they only went in about 2 days ago, so I'm happy with them at the moment. Back here are some flower seeds. So I've got some zinnia, cosmos, linearia and antirrhinums, and the cosmos is already up, and I see one of the zinnia has poked its head out today. At the back of that is some herb seeds. So I've got coriander, dill, I've got orange scented thyme, and what's this one? I can't remember. Summer savoury, yeah. So that's a new one to me, and that's an annual, so I'm going to try that. The orange scented thyme, I'm pretty sure, is a perennial, so yeah. Pretty pleased with those as they're going, and they're just needing regular daily watering because they are on the, oops, sorry everyone, they are on the hot mats, and you just need to make sure that they get plenty of water, otherwise you basically cook them. Now, this is the table that's got all my chilies and eggplants and everything, and they're doing really well. Pleased with them. I'm keeping the fan going during the day. It's just helping to strengthen them so that they're not floppy. They're just starting to stand up all by themselves. This is the yellow thing that I was telling you about. It's meant to catch insects, and you have it around about the level of your thing, and you can see that there is one fungus now on there. I did change it only yesterday, so but I have noticed a couple of them just floating around in the place too, so I will need to watch carefully for them. And at the very back is some stuff that just doesn't need to be on the heat mats. So the basil that I've been trying to nurse through, some onion seedlings that I need to prick out, and some seeds that I planted this week, things like viola and what have you, which just don't need to be on the heated mat, so they're just sitting there. So yeah, pretty happy with them. And then I'll bring you down and we'll have a look at the stuff that I've got sitting on the floor at the moment. I won't take you out to the greenhouse today because it's still bitterly cold, but all the stuff out there is doing well. The sweet peas are popping up. These are the ones that I planted a couple of weeks ago. The broad beans, while they're not up, you can see the earth mounding, so that's good. Yeah, I'm really happy with the stuff there. Right, so the stuff on the floor there and there is all basils of different sorts. So this was some stuff that I potted up the other day. The 6 cells are just the good old-fashioned green basil Genevieve, sweet Genevieve. And then there I've also got, in the single pots, I've got some Thai basil and some cinnamon basil. So that's great. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be able to bring you in even closer with a handheld, but because I noticed that I've got this tremor thing and it looks dreadful when I'm trying to show you things up close because with shakes. Yeah, so the family are looking at giving me a very, very early Christmas present of a Steadicam / gimbal thing so that it takes that shake away. So yeah, looking forward to getting that and being able to get in closer to things for you. And under the other table is just my kumara cuttings. Some of them are looking a wee bit on the sadder side. I may actually have to do a full revamp of that stuff. I had thought that the cuttings from the passion fruit were starting to put out roots, but I think I'm being fooled. But the cuttings themselves are still nice and green and doing well, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe I need to actually have them in a pot. Never having done passion fruit cuttings before, I'm going off internet stuff and just winging it really. So other than the seedlings in the greenhouse, which are all cool weather stuff like my lettuce and the spring onions that I've already potted on, the seeds that I've put in like the beans, etc. That's about it. But in the next week or two, things are going to ramp up because I've got to get all my tomatoes in. Usually do it at the beginning of September because I like to have them ready for Labor Day, which in theory in Canterbury is when you can put stuff out, but it's a bit hit and miss. It used to be show weekend, which is another 2 to 3 weeks on, but things, you just depend on the season, so. Okay. So that's the seedling report for this week, but we'll definitely have a good look at the outside. I might do that separately as part of next week's vlog and just show you what's going on in the greenhouse. Well, it's that time again of the week to have a cup of tea and a chat. I got my cuppa, which is all good, and we'll have a look at what we've been up to this week. So most of the stuff I did this week was done on the Saturday and Sunday because after Monday lunchtime it was just wet and horrible, and yeah, even today, which is Friday, while it's sunny, that wind is really cold, so I haven't really been out there. Getting the broad beans tidied up and tied up was done timely because that southerly came through and it really did bash things, but they're all good. I've had a look at them this morning and they're standing reasonably upright, but they don't look at all damaged, so that's good. And hopefully in the next week or two, the wee flowers, which I did forget to show you on the video, but they're just a lovely white with a black fleck. They should start changing from the flower into a broad bean, so we'll watch and see how they go and how quickly they form. I'm happy I got the new blueberry in. That's been sitting in the garage for a couple of weeks and it's shouldn't really been, but and I've got the other one up on the deck, so I've been keeping an eye on that and it seems to have settled well into the pot over the last few days. Nothing doesn't look worse for wear for being dug up, which is good. Now having got all the strawberries sorted and the wool matting down, that's excellent, and I've got plenty of wool matting for next winter. So far I'm happy to report neither Bo or Lou have managed to get in there and destroy the matting. I didn't get to doing the water piping. That's this coming weekend's job, and I have hopefully enlisted the help of hubby to lift the old piping up and then measure out and work out the bits and pieces that we need for to get it completely in. I won't be able to get it in this weekend, but I'll be able to do an audit about what I need and things like that, and then I'll get the stuff this coming week and then hopefully be able to finish it up in the next week or so. So that'll be one of my very long-standing round tuits done. So with the catnip coming out way easier than I thought, that was great, and I haven't to date yet potted any more of those cuttings up. It's sitting in a container of water, and I'll have a look at the ones that I've already done and see how well they are doing. I don't need a million catnip plants, but they can go towards one of my projects if need be. And the cranberry, now it's in. That's good too. It was a struggle getting it out of that pot, but fingers crossed, it'll take a season or two to get over the severe pruning it got the other week and to re-establish in there, and hopefully it doesn't become too dominant and overpowering there. I'll prune it again next winter, and after its restorative pruning the other week, it'll need another pruning that will then hopefully allow it to flower and do what it needs to do in the next couple of years. Just like to thank everyone that has subscribed to date. As always, it's great to see it, and it's lovely to read the comments, so do please comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to do so, because it is free. I'm going to wrap up now, and until next week's vlog, I'd like to wish you all a happy and safe week, and until then, bye for now.